I was not here last week, and that's because I was abducted by drones. This is Inverted World Live. So welcome back. This is Inverted World Live. I am Shane Cashman, and now I'm a drone expert. If you haven't already known, I've done all the research. I've got all the degrees now. I've talked to all the scientists, the drone experienced operators. So we're going to go through all the drone stuff, and we got some awesome callers lined up today. We're really excited to get to them. I'm joined by Alex.
Hey Shane, how's it going?
How were you last week?
Last week we didn't have a show.
Yeah, I was
the
in the
snow
sky. No, you say snowstorm, but we can tell everybody now it was snowstorm's code for drone abduction.
Oh, okay. That's what it was.
It was pretty bad last week.
It was. It wasn't so bad in the end, but driving here was pretty bad.
Yeah, so I was like, we can't risk our lives, and then I got abducted by the drones.
Tell us about it.
I was talking too much smack on the drones on Twitter, and they said you can't do that. So they found me, lifted me out of my house through the window up into the sky, and I met a variety of drones.
What was that like for you?
Well, there's Chinese drones, interdimensional drones, our own government drones. Some of them are just Joe Biden clones floating around in the atmosphere all willy-nilly. But I learned a lot.
Yeah, they say these drones are the size of SUVs.
Yeah, so no joke, I actually did not care about the drones at all, even though it's the only thing I want to talk about.
I know. I feel like I texted you about it and you totally ignored
Didn't
me.
care. Did not care. And now it's literally the only thing I want to write about and talk about. So didn't care, heard about it. I'm like, whatever, this has been a crazy year. The drones mean nothing to me. We've seen assassination attempts, assassinations.
There's a lot more serious problems out there.
It was an election year. Just a year ago, the Mexican government rolled out those fake cake alien corpses into their Congress that looked fake. We've seen whistleblowers that believe in motherships that turn out to be fake. So I heard about the drones. I'm like, you know what? Don't care. Then I actually went to New Jersey randomly to see my sisters. Both my sisters live in New Jersey. They do not care about the news. They don't care about anything I talk about. They don't care about aliens. They don't care about none of this. We sat down. The first thing they said was, "What is going on with the drones?" And I said, "I don't know. I don't care." And they're flying over our apartment, and they had videos. Of course, their videos are just as blurry as every Sasquatch video that's ever been filmed. Why are they always so blurry? But they were weird. And I was like, "You're sure it's not planes?" Because a lot of people are mistaken for planes,
right? For
sure, or for anything else. And also other people with drones that just are up there flying all around. But their videos were strange and low and close to their apartment. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. So I started looking into it. And I think there's a mixture of real drone sightings that you can't explain yet. And then people also definitely seeing planes. But it becomes like a Rorschach test is what I realized.
But how do you know really if it's a difference between a drone and a plane?
I mean,
that's high up in the sky.
That's the age-old question.
Yeah.
They've been asking that since ancient China. How do you tell the difference? I don't know. Because the thing is they're saying now is they have the same FAA lights.
Yeah.
And they blink the same. But I'm like, aliens could just be mimicking planes. Why wouldn't they be doing that right now? But you can tell. I think most people who've seen planes their whole lives can see a plane, even when it's through the fog.
Yeah.
That being said, I am also the person who was tricked by a cell phone tower about 15 years ago in the fog because it looked like a T3B triangle.
There could have been something there, and then it disappeared and it became the cell phone tower.
Or they're holograms, or it knows to morph into a cell phone tower. This is how
Everything's an illusion.
Exactly. But I think because the shapes and the way the height, the altitude that they're flying and how low they are, the sounds that some people are saying they're making.
Yeah.
But like I'm saying, it becomes a Rorschach test. Whatever you want the drones to be is what it becomes. So if you think it's aliens, now you got your aliens.
Yeah.
If you think it's the government, now you got your government doing a psyop. If you think it's China, I was just watching someone on Fox News totally confident saying it's China. They're here. They're spying on us because you can connect that to the Chinese spy balloon that we had floating across. I think that was last year. But when I started to so I cared a lot, and I was like, what is this? Are they interdimensional beings? Are they finally here? Is it aliens? Is it demons? Whatever.
Yeah.
Then I remembered that our very smart government, this administration, took a $400,000 missile and shot a $12 Hobby Lobby balloon out of the sky last year. Why aren't they doing that to these drones?
Well, last I checked in, it was they were saying who was it that got on the news and was like the government's not involved, it's nothing to do with us, and then it was the government.
Yeah,
I mean that's when I was like,
the
okay,
story
I'm over
changes
this.
every day.
I know.
It reminds me of shark attacks when I was a kid in the news. If there was one shark attack off like the Jersey Shore, all of a sudden all the news, shark attacks galore, 24/7, and everyone has a fear of sharks.
Maybe
again.
it's just Jersey.
It's Jersey is a strange place. But so.
Well, we can say that because we're New Yorkers, so we just have beef.
I know, major beef. So I don't know what they are. I think it's a mixture of all these things.
Yeah.
Like I think it's probably our government testing us.
Which are aliens?
It could be our government using alien technology that they've had forever, or it's just our government trying to scare us, which they love to do. I don't really believe.
Or they're trying to scare us, but really trying to bring us together.
Right, because it could be a blue beam situation.
Right.
Which is a lot of people were saying if you want to go the alien route, or the fake alien route, rather, they're finally doing the fake alien invasion, Project Bluebeam. They're going to get us to all rally around this major event, which Bluebeam theorized that it could be like a false god projected into the sky. If you listen to the Sam Tripoli episode, those of you out there who heard that, Sam said he believes that even Starlink could be used to build this kind of hologram in the sky to get people to come together to be like, oh my goodness, the second coming is here, a fake one, right?
Or Drew Tang.
Drew Tang also talked about it, right?
Yeah.
Another, he had a great theory as well. Great episode. So people who think that route, which I personally do believe Bluebeam is a real idea that people do toy with. And I like the Starlink connection. And you see like what drones are capable of, especially Chinese drones. They got all those crazy shows. Anything's possible.
Yeah.
So it could be that, but I have a friend who he works in an agency. I don't want to like get him in trouble, but he works in an agency, and people would be like, okay, Shane's just reading a message he sent himself, which is also always possible. But I swear this is a message I got because I asked him what he thought about it because he works with this kind of stuff. And so I asked him this on the 14th. So before, when it was still a mystery.
Okay.
Like people now think they've got it figured out, that it's probably the government doing some testing. That was the official story as of last week, that, oh, we've been doing this the whole time. Which, oh, the government's telling you the truth today, so you should totally believe them. Whenever they say this is the truth, certainly believe everything they say. Why would they lie to you?
Is this the article on the Senate floor?
We'll bring that up in just a sec. Okay. I'm going to read the message he sent after I asked him about what he thought about the drones. He said, it's a psyop, a power play for money. Look at the problem. We need money to solve it. Biden doubled down by not taking action. To force change, people must want change or the op won't have lasting impact. And he talked about asking a friend who's in the Air Force and how these guys have tech that could totally locate and tell you what these things are. So it's like the mystery is, I believe, on purpose. That's me saying that, not my friend. So he was just saying his theory is it's for money and for change. And that the current administration will use it to inflate their spending towards probably like Homeland Security, right? And or some type of law to prevent you from having drones. So that's also an interesting take. So he said all that. Also about federal money spending, Ukraine, all the money we're sending there, and drones that we send to Ukraine. So he said that, and then you can pull up that article now.
Okay.
And I'll read off my phone. So, and our guest today is a skeleton hand.
Yeah.
So that's he's usually here, but he just felt like today he wasn't so camera
He's usually
shy.
behind me, keeping an eye out on things.
Yeah, we have two in here. The other one not so comfortable today. He's like, I don't want to do that.
We can only handle one skeleton hand.
So like I said, I talked to my friend on December 14th about that. On December 19th, you might have seen this article. And this is from the Homeland Security website, .gov. So I'm not saying believe this crap, but they're saying now, echoing what he probably might have been hearing behind the scenes. On Senate floor, Senator Peters urges colleagues to pass his bipartisan bill to address threats from drones. I just want to read some of this. I think it's fascinating. So U.S. Senator Gary Peters, Democrat from Michigan, chairman of the Homeland Security and Governmental Affairs Committee, spoke on the Senate floor to urge his colleagues to pass a long overdue bipartisan legislation he authored that would address the growing safety threats posed by drones. I'm curious when he wrote it. Like, did he write this pre-drone? When he just like waiting for that drone invasion to pop off? Or is he like, I'm getting to work on this bill right now in November? But anyway, Peters' bill, the Safeguarding the Homeland from the Threats Posed by Unmanned Aircraft Systems Act of 2023, so he wrote this last year, would expand the authorities that allow the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Justice to disable drones that pose a security risk. You already see that this is interesting stuff here. Like, I don't have drones.
Yeah.
Because as you know, if you listen, I'm a Luddite that happens to have a podcast surrounded by cameras and microphones.
You're a conundrum.
But when I leave here, I do have a horse and carriage, I promise.
That's how you got here today.
That's how I got here, yeah. So now it's starting to sound like it's infringing on your rights to drones, which after this was released, you saw that Jersey said no more drones in certain areas. So that's interesting. So I'm just going to skip down. Most urgently, this bill would ensure law enforcement has the technology needed to quickly and clearly identify exactly what the reported sightings of drones across the country are. If a drone is found to be a potential danger, our law enforcement agencies must have the tools to mitigate these threats effectively. So you see, this is all leading up to money they want to spend on Homeland Security and also taking away your right to drones, which obviously you shouldn't be flying drones around airports. And I'll get to another little tangent with that in a minute. But I want to read a little bit more. This is from the bill. Every day, more and more Americans are using drones for everything from hobby flights to commercial applications and law enforcement activities. Drones can offer important societal and economic benefits, but they can also pose serious problems if they are not used appropriately. Recently, in New Jersey, we've seen reports of loud and menacing drones. It's an interesting sentence. I like that. Loud and menacing drones. While the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, and other key agencies have assured the public that these drones pose no immediate Homeland Security threat, they have certainly caused unease and concern for many Americans. I can imagine the guy writing this bill while also like having a remote control for the drones, being like, I'm going to pass these people. All right, I'm just going to do a little more, and I'll get into my bird theory. Rogue drones, he says, can interfere with commercial air traffic, clearly. As we saw with the recent closure of runways at a New York airport, as well as large public gatherings like football games or concerts. The National Football League, a key supporter of this legislation, has shared that in recent seasons they have seen more than 2,500 drones violate the airspace around stadiums, in some cases leading them to stop the games to resolve potential threats to the fans and the teams. All right, before I go on just a little more, that just reminded me of like, imagine that the sky is filled with drones, which it already is, and ones you don't even see. Like this predates November, right? It reminds me of when I was working at an auction gallery as a furniture mover, and I don't think I've told this story on this show, but I have recently on another show. We started getting prayer rugs from the Middle East, and a lot of them were stitched by hand, and a lot of these newer ones we were getting from the past 2 decades had drones stitched around the sides of the prayer rugs because their skies are constantly filled with drones that bomb them, right? And for those who were following Obama's wonderful 2 terms in office, he, for instance, his last year as president, he used his administration dropped 3 bombs every hour, every day for a whole year. That's his last year in office. So you can only imagine. And then he used Bush's definition of what a terrorist is, and that's a very vague age for a man just so he can get away with innocent murders. But that's just reading that last paragraph from the bill reminds me of what our skies could soon feel like, filled with immortal sun-powered drones policing your every move, taking pictures of you.
I don't like it.
This is not good. So I just want to read a little more. We've also seen how drones operated by a bad actor can quickly become a serious security threat. This summer, an assailant used a drone to surveil President-elect Trump's rally site in Butler, Pennsylvania. All right, I'll stop there. But you see that they're building up to this spending, this taking away and also taking away your rights at least they're probably going to move to getting rid of drones in more than just the areas of commercial flights, because they're worried about it turning into it's being weaponized. Which who didn't see that coming? These things are clearly a weapon. If not a weapon, obviously they're used for hobbies, and I get that, and they make awesome videos. But they're going to say they want to take it all away because they fear imminent danger. Because also this current administration thinks half of us are domestic terrorists. But reading that also reminded me of something with commercial flights, and something I wrote for the first Inverted World book. You might remember, Alex. It's very reminiscent of what they did to birds after Sully Sullenberger safely crashed his plane in the Hudson River, because I believe it was geese that flew through one of his engines, and that's not the only time that's happened. But after that, and the story I wrote for the first Inverted World book was that the government spent a ton of money slaughtering birds around airports. And one of the craziest things I didn't know about until I did that research was oiling. Do you remember this?
I remember the slaughtering.
It's gross. They go around and they make a large radius around airports, a grossly sized radius around airports, and oil bird eggs, which they use some instrument. I believe actually some of them were drones doing this, because they'd fly drones up to a tree and spray some oil on the bird eggs to prevent them from ever hatching. Also, they were kidnapping birds. I know this is like a tangent off of all this, but it's just to show you how much money these people go through to do weird things that they say is for safety. But birds are also fake, so you can take that with a grain of salt. Birds are also drones. Everyone, we do know that, but some are still real. But in my town at the time, they were kidnapping geese, and it was a crazy thing, because literally they would have a van roll up, they would kidnap geese from this lake that they would populate, and more geese would return. They just couldn't get rid of the geese. So that article sort of confirms what my friend was saying was going to happen. This is more like
a rights issue. Like
not so much rights. I think that's like an offshoot of it, but it's like, how do we get more money? And maybe it's a last-ditch effort before Doge and Elon and Vivek get in and start stripping away a lot of this stupid spending, of them trying to validate their presence and being like, just fill the sky with drones. And then from there, everyone makes of it what they will. Yeah. If you want to think it's blue beam, if you want to think it's aliens, you just whatever you want it to be, because if the internet is that reality buffet.
Maybe Amazon was trying, they're testing out, they're dropping packages off on your doorstep with drones. Weren't they supposed to do that? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, right. Maybe it's just Jeff Bezos this whole time.
Maybe.
But I think it's twofold. I do think it's our government just trying to inflate their budget for the police state, and I think they're gonna get that no problem, because they're gonna say it's for national security, but they did it themselves to validate their own spending.
But like, why in Jersey?
I don't know, because people in Jersey are gullible. Sorry. Just a joke, guys. I'm from New York. We are better than you. I saw a Jersey plate the other day down here in West Virginia, and I was like, oh man, the beef still exists no matter how far I get from New York. I'm like, no, I love Jersey. There's actually like beautiful parts of Jersey that are way more beautiful than the ugliest parts of New York. But we're still better. But it's not just Jersey; it's everywhere. Yeah. People are now saying, I was worried for a minute that the drones were going to be like the monkeypox of the sky, like it was just going to come and go, a quick little fear ritual, and then boom, we're back to normal. But I'm seeing videos from around the country. But again, you don't know what you're seeing.
Yeah.
Some of these people are sharing videos from 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and saying it's yesterday.
Right.
Other people are seeing planes, but there's a lot of stuff that just seems weird, and I think that's part of it, and they take advantage of it, and that's the fear. Through the fear, they're able to kind of manipulate the narrative, inflate their spending, and blame it on our adversaries. That was another one of my theories, was that when I heard the theory that they were scanning, the drones were scanning for like a nuclear, like a dirty bomb. Yeah. I was like, well, and they were saying it was going to be Iran or like one of our quote unquote enemies. I was like, well, it's probably not. It's probably our own government putting out a bomb, just because I'm like, I have like Operation Northwoods brain, where like everything's now a psyop or a false flag. I know not everything is, but is where my gut goes first, because our government does crazy stuff like that. So I was like, it could be like a Northwoods thing where they're going to plant something, use the drones to confirm it and scare people. But I don't think it's that. If it maybe it was that, and then the internet subverted that, and they were like, "All right, guys, let's go to Plan B." They're on to the Northwoods 2.0 plan, but I don't think it's that. I think it's probably spending, and that they're trying to scare us. And then on top of that, it's other people just taking advantage of it, and people are seeing like a hobbyist's drone and then freaking out. I was woken up at 3:00 this morning by my son, who saw lights coming in to our room.
Oh God, no.
And they were like, it was like a beam of light. And
Yeah.
I don't talk to him about drones, not yet
Yeah.
at least, because we're Amish outside of this podcast. And I'm
Well, I
only
mean, if
not
you're Amish, I feel like they should know about drones.
No. They're all just, if it flies, it's a demon.
Yeah.
Unless it's a bird. Well, that's a thin line. But I was like, oh, geez, it's a drone.
Just a flashing car light.
This is a true story. It's really sad though. It turned out to be one of our neighbors down the road who has Alzheimer's, who thought she lost her cat searching, and she was shining her light through all of our windows. It was a crazy story.
Jeez.
It's like 19 degrees outside, so it was really,
Yeah.
really worrisome. But she's fine.
You need some blackout curtains.
I was for a minute like, oh geez, the drones, they're back. They're back.
You just wake up thinking about drones.
All the time. It's literally my favorite thing. It's the best because it's like the Voltron of all the conspiracy theories. Everyone had a different and legitimate theory about them.
See, when it gets to a point where it's like there's so many of them, I check out.
Like so many theories or so many drones.
So no,
Like, there's just too many drones.
too many
Get away.
drones. Go to bed. No, too many theories.
So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen next, but I think it's going to lead to beyond what the message from my friend, beyond the bill with Homeland Security. I think this is to like get us prepared for that sky of drones that I was talking about with the prayer rugs. Not so much to bomb us, although that is a possibility, but as a police state. Like they are going to turn the sky into a giant mirror/weapon for the police state to monitor us at all times. Which, like we've talked about Lockheed Martin's spy satellites. Remember we had Ashton on. We talked about global infrared mapping in real time the Earth with those. Mm-hmm. Imagine ones that are a little more local. You know?
So, even if you are Amish, there's no escaping for you.
There's no escape. Dude, the feds raided the Amish last year. That's why Trump won the election this year, because the Amish turned out. Because they were pissed because they went in there. But I do think that is probably, I've talked a lot about Clearview AI, facial recognition, the stuff that Peter Thiel funds. Mm-hmm. Starlink, like what Sam was saying about that being like a blue beam scenario, a possible tool for the blue beam scenario.
We do have a super chat for $20. Hesha, one of our regulars. Not sure orb drones are as creepy as they seem. I took a picture of a drone in my area that was just bright light. When I zoomed in, the photo looked like an interdimensional alien orb, but it wasn't. It's probably not aliens.
Yeah, probably not aliens. I agree. It's not as fun.
Because aliens like to be conspicuous, and this is by far not.
Yeah, I feel like the aliens would have a better entrance.
Thank you, Hesha.
Yeah, thank you for that. I feel like they would have a better entrance. And Pete Buttigieg said, why would they choose New Jersey? He really pissed off New Jersey.
We're all just here pissing off New Jersey.
Yeah. So, no, I love New Jersey, guys. It's great. The air conditioner was invented in New Jersey on the shore as they were trying to save President Garfield from dying from his assassination. He was shot, and then he died slowly on the shore, and they invented the early form of the air conditioner on the shore. And the metal detector, but they didn't think it through. He was on a metal bed frame. So trying to find bullets on a metal bed frame wasn't working so well. But yeah, you can go look up like the receipts the government has for the amount of ice that they paid for to make this apparatus work for the air conditioning that was built by a naval officer. It's crazy stuff. But so Jersey did do that.
All right. Well,
they did do Jersey Shore, but they also invented the air conditioner. So, but yeah, I do worry about that. The police state growing, us becoming desensitized to it, the sky filled with drones that are powered by the sun. I see these quote unquote former CIA agents on podcasts. And I don't believe in former CIA agents. Once you're in there, you're always in there. I don't trust that you're out. But one of them, I forget the guy's name. He was like, I'd rather be spied on than it be like, a foreign agency or something like that. I'm like, dude, no. That's what a CIA would say. Yeah, I forget his whole argument, but he was okay with being spied, I think, over the alien thing. I was like, I don't trust that at all. I don't want to be spied. And his case was like, I'm not doing anything wrong. You know, they can spy on me because I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not cheating on my wife. I'm not paying my taxes. And when I hear that, I'm like, dude, they redefine what good and bad is all the time. Yeah. So you're probably fine because you're literally an asset. But for the rest of us who aren't doing anything wrong, who might have a differing point of view, they define that as bad now. So they use that against us. And now the sky is filled with these like giant metal pterodactyls that I have to deal with. I don't want that future, but that's the future. I do think that's what's coming, and it's going to be ugly. Like, the police state is bad. And in case of those who missed it, my little thing about Peter Thiel and the police state, that guy inflated the police state using the Patriot Act right after 9/11. He's doing facial recognition software like Clearview AI, and he's very close to Trump. And I love Trump, but I am worried about people around him who do want to use AI and the surveillance state and like make money off of it and turn it against us. So that's my big takeaway with what the drones are going to be. And I think we should all be worried about the drones in that regard. Not that they're interdimensional beings, although some of them might be. They're just hiding real like inside, like, we're here. They don't know. But yeah, that's my take on that.
Well, I'll look forward to the day when we find out.
It'd be cool if we had like a sunroof in here or something to open up, and you know, a drone could come in here and just take me out.
I think we're good.
Take you out. We're not like that, but like just out for a ride, a quick spin.
Oh, you just want to spin.
I don't want to be taken out by a drone. No. Although that is a possibility. I do worry about that. You know, Ukraine is saying they've got like laser weapons now.
That's exciting.
So, and if Ukraine has laser weapons, that means we built them and gave them to Ukraine. So we have laser weapons. Anyway, we've got callers.
It's an exciting show, you guys. Yeah, we do. It's an all-caller show. Let's see. Hold on. Now I got to move things around. Let's get to it. Okay. Who are we bringing in first here? Umar.
We got Umar. Thank you, everyone who submitted some stories who want to call in today.
Umar, are you with us? Looks like you're muted on your end.
Yeah, I'm here with you guys.
How's it going?
What up?
Everything's going good. How are you guys?
We're good. So maybe we should pull up his video real quick. We'll play your video, and we have audio on it, right?
Yes.
So as you pull it up, I'm going to warn people. I believe this is a video. There's a lot of cursing from Umar. So if you're listening with a small child, just mute it real quick. I don't want to make any kids here, but I understand.
UFOs.
But I understand why.
Finally got the proof. Finally got the fucking proof. Holy shit. Look at this shit. They're moving in all sorts of weird fucking directions.
So we're looking at, for those who are just listening, we're looking at like glowing orbs.
Holy shit.
In the distance, in the sky.
Let me see if I can get a better look.
There's multiple ones.
Insane.
How many do we see, Alex?
It looks like 4.
Bear with me. Bear with me, people.
And they're it's hard to tell
like a cluster, like
but there's
4.
Yeah. It almost looks like
so
a
as
constellation.
you can see, this is the side of my house.
But it's not.
It's my neighbor's house. These things are up in
Yeah,
the
I tried
sky.
to get some good vantage points.
They look like streaks of light that are leaving behind like what a comet would leave.
Like right here.
And they're moving in all sorts of circular directions. Alright, this is where I'm going to... You've seen enough. You see all the lights. This is where I'm going to turn the camera off and go get my motherfucking binoculars. Holy shit. Holy,
so
they're disappearing. Look, they're all disappearing. Holy shit, they all just disappeared. They all just disappeared.
Maybe real quick before we talk to Umar, pull up the other video he sent where it's like a clearer vision. And then, Umar, once we play that, we'll pick up where we left off.
With Wawa's rewards program, you can earn points every day.
This is not our advertisement.
This is just YouTube.
Was it a Wawa commercial again? Because I support Wawa. It's not my favorite gas station, but it's one of the best.
Was it the reel from Instagram or was it the second YouTube video? I can't remember anymore.
It was the first. It was the both of them together. They both are like the exact same thing that I saw.
The second YouTube is.
I think it was a reel I sent.
The reel, the
yeah.
Instagram reel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Bear with us, everybody.
Yeah, Wawa, for those listening, is the third best gas station in the country. Just so you know.
Why is it?
The first is
those are the angels.
This one here?
Yeah. So we're seeing the same thing, but it's a clear picture.
Yeah, this was filmed like a couple months ago or like last week, I think, in San Diego.
On on a better phone.
Well,
Because for those listening, Umar's video that we watched is from a decade ago.
In Florida.
In Florida, and this
Dude,
is
they're moving around.
Yeah, that's fucking
this is
creepy,
from
dog.
California, or
No, I live in Arizona now.
oh, okay.
Whoa. Is that right?
Sarah, get out here.
So we're watching like descending lights, almost like after a fireworks display, but there wasn't an explosion, and it's just a few, like 4 glowing orbs with tails falling towards the earth. Okay, so let's go to Umar. So Umar, what happened when you got your binoculars?
Sorry, what was that?
What happened when you got your binoculars and checked those things out? What were you thinking?
Well, I never got a chance to, actually. So when it was about to go do that, they all started disappearing in the sky one by one until they were just fully gone. This is the crazy part, though. You know, like, you go see these UFO videos all over YouTube. They're usually filmed with some really shitty camera, just like mine was. But I know what I saw, right? And it's like, when you read the comments and all the videos that you see, there's like 90% of people just always commenting on the camera footage quality, or just basically saying fake, fake, fake. If you go through my video, the one that was put that I sent you from that interview, it actually gained like 72K views, which there were people commenting on that video saying that they lived, like, they were talking about street roads right from down the street from where I lived. Because I lived in Miramar, Florida at the time. I lived like a mile or two down from Sun Life Stadium, which was on Miami Gardens Drive.
Okay.
And these people were commenting on the video like, he's not lying, he's not lying. I was driving with my girlfriend in the car, and we followed the orbs until they disappeared. Like, we were on 183rd in Miami Gardens Drive. And it's like, okay, I know these people definitely saw what I saw if they're naming these streets like this. There's a few comments on there like that where people are saying they have footage of the same thing. So I just think it's funny that, you know, I've been one of those people that comment like, oh, this video is bullshit, but you know, I know what I saw.
Right.
It's funny when you see this stuff in front of your face, your eyes it really looks animated, like you're watching an animation, because these things are like defying the laws of physics. They don't look real. So it's like your eyes aren't trying to tell you that what you're seeing isn't real, and you can't decipher it. Your brain doesn't know how. It's really wild. It's a very wild experience when you see something like that.
Oh yeah, it reminds me, looking at your video reminds me of how I felt when I saw what I still call a UFO in Georgia, and it was an orb that moved up, down, left, and right for a long time, and then just dissolved into nothing and disappeared. And I saw it a few times down there. Everyone sees it. I talk to people who don't believe in UFOs at all. They hate the mention of it, like a meteorologist who hates the talk of aliens and UFOs. He's a very by-the-book guy. I asked him about that. He's like, I don't know what that thing is. We all see it. It's not a weather balloon. It's not from the military. I talked to the DEA with helicopters, like maybe it was a helicopter looking for a weed farm or something. No one knows what it is. It was super weird. And your video kind of looked like it because they moved that way. And the way it moved, it just didn't make sense. Like, how does it sustain this movement? Maybe it was a drone, you know, thinking back now, you know, then we just, no one was thinking drone back then. But yeah, I don't know. When you saw what you saw, what was your gut instinct? Are you like thinking, is it aliens? What are you thinking?
For me, it was definitely some sort of interdimensional something. It wasn't drones. It was definitely, it made me think like, what the hell am I looking at right now? My brain can't decipher it, which that doesn't happen if it's obviously in reality. So that was one thing that knocked me out really quick. Yeah. Another thing was that these things would literally disappear, and then right where one would disappear, like 5 would reappear in that same spot. And then from those 5, like one would, you know, come out, and then they would, like 5 would fly into one. And the one that they flew into, it's not like it would get bigger. And you're just like, what is going on right now? This doesn't look legit. And then one is in the sky doing like a ring of fire, like spinning really quickly, like as if like you were waving a glow stick. And you just saw the trail. You ever done that before? Like wave a glow stick so quick that you see it form a circle. Like that's what one of these things was doing in the sky. And then it just stopped immediately. That's when I pulled out my phone, because I wanted to make sure like I wasn't just filming bullshit at first. But yeah, I wish the quality was better, truthfully.
Right. I mean, it is 10 years ago. They always turn out to be blurry, but like trying to film things in the sky with your phone is impossible.
Never works.
The thing I saw in Georgia, I tried. It was so clear in my eyes what I was seeing. But the second I tried to film it, like we all know when you try to film the moon, whatever. Well, the moon's a hologram, we know that. But like when you try to film anything else, it's like that doesn't come out. And then I tried to film the UFO in Georgia through a night scope on an automatic, and I forget what kind of rifle it was. And it was a giant scope, and I had the phone pressed up against the glass, and it came out a little better, but it's impossible. So you're never going to get good footage. But they're going to try. If you remember, I think it was earlier this year, NASA did that. They gave like a hearing about aliens, about UFOs, and needing all of our help to identify UFOs, which is funny thinking about the drones now. Yeah. But they were literally saying, if you see something, say something. They were applying that phrase now to the sky and saying, film the sky constantly. So they're looking for things like that, and they probably already took your video, uploaded it to whatever their database is. But when you talk to other people down there, like, did you have friends who saw those things, or just like you saw comments from the same area that also saw it?
So I live in Phoenix, Arizona. I know people that saw the Phoenix lights. So I know people that my buddy that I worked with was next door neighbors to Travis Walton. So like this is some really cool people that I've met. Some really interesting people I've met out here in Arizona. So yeah, I do talk about UFOs with a few people.
Did you talk to Travis about UFOs?
I've never spoken to Travis, but my buddy Sam that I used to work, we worked at a production facility for a cannabis company.
Okay.
And me and him just used to talk aliens a lot, because when he was like, I was speaking aliens one day, and he just butts into my conversation, and he's like, my neighbor's been on like National Geographic. He's had a movie named it, and I looked at him with this look, because I'm thinking he's about to say Travis Walton, and I said, "Who's your neighbor, Sam?" And he goes, "Travis Walton." I started laughing. I said, "You got to be kidding me. Do you understand that your neighbor has like the most epic abduction story in UFO history?" And he's like, "Yes, I know who my neighbor is." And he just told me a lot of funny stories about his childhood. Like, tour buses would come to his house and knock on his door, and he would have to open the door and be like, "It's next door. It's next door."
That's amazing.
And like a whole bunch of just cool stories. He said he used to hang out with Travis's kid, and they used to jump on the trampoline together. And he would always ask him, "Do you believe what your dad saw was real?" And his son would always say yes.
Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. I didn't know he was out there. Phoenix has a history of UFOs in the sky.
Me? Yeah, I do actually. I've seen two of them since I've actually lived out here. And I know what I saw was real, because I was sitting in the car with somebody from the Jeep dealership. We were driving, testing out my Jeep after he fixed it. And we both saw probably something like a drone size, just straight, like right over the top of the car. And I happened to look out the windshield. Like, I didn't say anything, though. I didn't want him to think I was crazy. And then he goes, "Wait, did you see that too?" And I said, "Wait, you saw that too?"
Nice.
And I said, "Okay, that was insane. I mean, that was definitely a UFO, right?" He goes, "It must have been." He goes, but if that was, it was probably like the size of a drone or something. But it was definitely moving at like, wow. I can't even tell you how fast that was moving at. It like just rushed right over us. We were able to like look out the top of the windshield kind of and just look at the sky. Like,
that was
what the hell was that?
Was that at night? Was that at nighttime?
No, this was broad daylight on the highway.
Oh, whoa. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. And there's a story from Phoenix, I think it was Phoenix in like the 80s or 90s, about lights in the sky. It was a big news story.
In 97.
Was it 97? Right. And we don't know what that is. I mean, people have lots of theories, aliens or the government, but, or maybe there's really no difference.
Well, the governor came out on stage dressed as an alien after that, and like basically made a mockery out of all the people that said they saw something. And now he's been on so many documentaries since then, saying that he apologizes to the people of Arizona, and he in fact doesn't know what it was, and he just didn't mean to do that. Like, just basically trying to make a cover up.
Yeah,
I did not know.
It was saying that in 97, witnesses from Nevada to Arizona reported seeing a large V-shaped formation of lights. The object was described as massive, silent, and slow-moving, with some claiming it blocked out the stars as it passed overhead.
Dang.
So,
that's crazy. Yeah, people like to think of the triangle. They think of was a T3B we were talking about earlier, but that's as far as we know, is smaller. That sounds huge. From the reports I heard in Phoenix, it was like this huge shape.
Do you guys on this show? Do you guys talk DMT? Because I mean, man, the stuff I've seen on DMT is crazy.
Yes,
like, I don't get into it unless you
want
to talk about it.
What have you seen?
I mean, I've seen different entities, I guess, if you want to call them. Like, I've done DMT like over like 180 times. Me and my buddy actually used to make this stuff back in the day. So we always had it. And we always did it properly. Like, everything was always done in a very not ritualistic setting, but very spiritual setting. Like, we knew that we were encountering something every time we did it, and we didn't want to mock mock it or whatever it was, or have a negative experience.
Right.
So we always went into it with very like the right intention. But I've only had one negative experience on DMT, which it wasn't because of some like aliens. It was more so something that made me feel like I was the size of an ant. I'll explain this experience to you. This was a crazy experience. I love talking about this because it was so epic. It was the second time I was ever doing DMT. I did it alone, which you probably should never do. And I tried to keep my eyes open, which you also should probably never do. But immediately, as soon as I started swirling, I closed my eyes. And at that point, I think second time, like I said, I think I was probably not doing it properly. But whatever I encountered, it made me feel like I wasn't supposed to be there. Like I was in this very dark spot. Everything was pitch black around me. I couldn't see like the walls, but I could see green electricity running around everywhere, which made me see like, okay, if it bent this way, I knew there was a wall right there. Right. So there was like this overgrowing fear over me. Like I needed to get out of there. Right. Because I kept feeling this presence of something that was way more superior than me. And it was looking at me like I was an ant. And it was just like how we look at an ant pile and step on it and kill their entire kingdom. We don't think twice about it. We just keep walking. It was like, that's how this thing was looking at me.
Wow.
Not like it wanted to kill me, but just it was laughing at me. I was a joke to this thing. And it was just laughing at me. And basically I was scared out of my life looking for an exit. And then all of a sudden, an exit sign appeared and I walked out this door and I woke up, or opened my eyes, I should say. And that was probably the only negative experience I've ever had on DMT, but it was wild.
Wow. So for all the other experiences, do you kind of experience the same thing or the same place?
So, I don't really know. Like I've definitely, because I can't really explain my experiences. They're very weird. They're always filled with some sort of entity. Like one time I've seen some sort of android that was like glowing purple and kind of see-through. It kind of reminded me of like the iRobot type of things. And it was like, it had like dreads that were like glowing purple, and it was wild. It was like machine-like, and it was like, it was fanning me, basically trying to keep me cool, letting me know that everything was going to be all right.
Interesting.
I've seen what people claim to call those machine elves, if you want to call them that. Like that was probably the craziest experience I've ever had. But
can you explain that for people listening? Because that's become like a meme. But a lot of my friends, not all my friends, have seen those as well. I've not done DMT, but I've heard a lot about the machine elves.
Yeah, I don't know if this even was them, but the only thing I can compare these things to is they look like those aliens from The Simpsons, without the glass over their domes. They just looked like the ones that I was seeing were like dressed with like pink diner outfits on, and they had trays in their hands, like they were holding like, you would think caviar was going to be on these trays or something, but there was like glowing diamonds on these trays. And I kept thinking to myself, what are they trying to show me? Like, is this like my life, or is this a huge DMT crystal? And it was like every time I looked at them, I got this message of just look, don't give in, but just look. And when I looked into this crystal, I got sucked into it, sucked out into another dimension, and then there was a billion of them just looking at me with this wicked smile, just trying to love me. It was wild. Like I said, everything's been positive ever since then, so nothing's ever been negative, but it was wild, man. It's almost like they're happy to see you again. That's the best way I can describe it. It's very hard to describe.
Yeah, it sounds like a crazy trip. The desert always has weird stories. I don't know what it is about the desert. I have a friend whose father drove out to Arizona from New York. Oh, no, grandfather, rather. And would just sit in the desert with a bottle of whiskey and watch for UFOs in like the 60s and 70s. And he had crazy stories about just sitting in the desert and doing that. From what he saw. So something's going on out there. I don't know. There's definitely.
Have you ever heard of Stardust Ranch?
No. Tell us.
Stardust Ranch is in Buckeye, Arizona. It's literally just like Skinwalker Ranch.
Okay.
You should read up on it. I actually went out to that property and sat in front of that property as well.
What was that
like? The vibe out there, the air is very, very eerie out there, but nothing. I didn't see anything.
Interesting. I'm looking at it now.
Definitely look into it.
It only has 3 stars. It only has a 3-star review.
Connections to alleged paranormal and extraterrestrial activity.
Yeah, it looks crazy. Oh, that's good. I'll put that on my list. Cool. There's also Stardust Ranch Brothel. I'd imagine that's not the one you're talking about.
Not at all. No, this was in.
I was like, wait a
Stardust
second.
Ranch, Buckeye, Arizona. You'll find it.
Okay. This is Nevada that they're showing. Okay, sweet, awesome. What do you make of the drones happening right now? Like, what do you think of this whole drone story?
Honestly, I think the drones is just a cover up. There's a lot of stuff going on in the news right now that they're, trying to keep people distracted from.
Yeah.
I just think it's a distraction, truly.
Yeah.
I think like if they're looking for nukes like they may say they are, I think like they may have said something, maybe not like, hey, there's a nuke, get out of town, but they may have said something to try and get some people to leave, or,
Right.
make people, if they can read between the lines, some people can leave or not. But I don't know. I just don't think they're looking for nukes. But I did see an interesting story on Sean Ryan's show where this lady was saying that, they might bring that war here and we might start seeing suicide bombers and shit here. And that shit scared the shit out of me, dude. I don't know, that's not even your show right now. I know it kind of got off, but that was a very scary reality to think that could be happening. And that kind of involves those drones if people want to, believe their enemy or Iran or something.
Yeah, I heard about that show. I don't watch it. And I think that's part of the dystopian nightmare that I talk about a bunch, like we're going to get attacked by robots in the future. And the skies, we're filling the sky. I mean, I at some point, I don't think I read it in the message. This guy I know who works in one of these agencies said there's going to be, imagine a sky with 5 million drones. That's a lot of drones. And probably more, Think about how many Starlinks are up there already.
That doesn't leave us room for clear air.
They don't care about the clear air. They want Bill Gates. They want Bill Gates to put dust in the sky to block the sun out. You think they care about 5 million? They'll do like, the drones are 2 birds, 1 stone. Use the drones to block the sun and also destroy humanity. Perfect. That's what they love.
Around with oxygen tanks.
But yeah, dude, I think you're right. All right, well, hey man, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it. Fun talking.
Yeah, of course, and I appreciate you guys for having me. It was fun talking about this 10-year-old, 15-year-old story, 12-year-old story.
It's awesome. Yeah, it's relevant now more than ever. Thanks, dude.
For sure.
Take care.
Have a good night. Sweet. Who we got next?
Cool. Yeah, we got Nicholas. Let me bring Nicholas in.
Oh, now I'm worried they're going to block the sun out with drones.
Oh, well, we need vitamin D, man. So, hi, Nicholas. Are you with us?
Hello. I'm here.
What's up, man? How are you? Can you hear us? Oh, sorry. Hello.
Hello.
Hey,
there
cool. There you are. So, Nicholas, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good. So,
what story do you have for us tonight on this wonderful cold evening? At least for us.
Yes. So this happened back in 2020. And okay, so let me introduce myself, because the interesting thing about this story is that if you look at all the details, I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh no, you're good. You're good. We didn't say anything.
Okay. If you look at all the details that I say, you can easily find a lot of the details that I say. This is like in the backdrop of 2020.
Okay.
And just to introduce myself, my name is Nick, and but right now I'm a psychology student, and I'm also a January 6th protester.
Awesome. That's a wide range of things. I like it.
Wow.
Yes. So when 2020 happened, and as you can remember, pandemic, lockdowns, and stuff like that, I was one of the first people to go to a reopened protest here in New York City. I'm a Staten Islander.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Fellow New Yorker.
Woo-woo.
Awesome.
So this happened, I want to be clear because I know it dropped the January 6th thing. This happened before January 6th. This happened right after the election, right? And the reason why I brought up earlier the lockdowns is that around this time I was listening to a lot of Tim Pool, right? And I was very inspired by his journalism that he did like in Occupy Wall Street and stuff like that. So I went out and I started to do a lot of journalism.
That's awesome.
Right. So, you know, Summer of Love happens and all that stuff. Right. I try to film as many protests as possible, a lot of Black Lives Matter protests. And then when the election happens, right, and as we all know, the whole controversy that happened in that election cycle, I decided, okay, I'm going to go to the MAGA Million protest in Washington, D.C. I don't know if you remember that one. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, the name for sure.
Right. So there was the Mega Million protest, right? And there were so many people there, right? I remember just waves upon waves of people being there,
Yep.
right? And the day after, there was a walk away protest, right? So this was like November 16th or 17th that this happened of 2020, right? So before that, so I went to DC with a bunch of friends, and this is important this is actually important because this tells me how I got to this point, right? So I was doing journalism with a bunch of my friends, right? And we went down there, and at the time I got into sort of a religious argument with a friend of mine, and well, we had our disagreement to the point that he had decided to leave me in DC on that day after the walkaway protest day. Right. So I was going out and I was filming a lot of the protests of that day. I was filming like the Proud Boys. I was filming, I was on my feet all day. I was wearing like thick steel plated boots too, right? And for whatever reason, I was wearing them wrong, and I had a big bruise on the top of my foot because of it. I went out to film the walkaway protest that morning when I got into another argument with my friend who decided to leave to New York without me, right? So interesting little details is that I remember Scott Pressler was there. Mike Harlow was there. He saw me there, right? And I was friends with him at the time, right? Really, he can look at me and he can like, dude, I know who you are. I remember who you are. Just awesome guy all around. Mike Harlow, right?
Yeah, he's been on IRL.
I was trying to figure out, okay, how do I get home? Right. I mean, I went there without a car, and this guy just ditched me. And here I am, I'm limping, right? Because that's how bad my foot's hurting. And I was just like in a workaholic state, right? Where I just need to film as many protests as possible. Right. So following this, right, and this is the moment I was talking about. So this middle-aged woman, I would say like 40s or 50s, right? She pulled me to the side as I was walking away from that protest. It's like around that corner, right? And she saw that I was limping, right? So unfortunately, I don't have footage of this. It would be great, but I hope all these details can help like put a tangible time and place for this event, because she had seen me, right? She sat me down, right? And she asked me where it hurt. Right. So she knelt down. So this was my left foot. So I was kind of sitting like catty corner on the cinder block.
Okay.
Right. And she knelt down to look at my left foot. Right. And she's just staring at it. Okay. And you have to understand, I'm an atheist. Right. This is I got into an argument with my friend over religion at this point. Right. This is the whole thing that like blew us up.
Right.
Right. And she's looking at my foot, and all of a sudden I start feeling my foot just feel warm on the inside, right? It's as if like all the cells and like molecular structures of my foot started like reattaching. Yeah, no.
Is she saying anything?
You could feel kind of like a pulse of energy going through my foot.
Is she like moving her hands or saying anything, or just staring at you?
No, she was just staring at my foot.
That's crazy.
It sounds unbelievable.
Right.
Right. So here I am. Right. She's looking at my foot, and I'm just feeling like a pump, like my blood pumping through my foot. Right. And 5 minutes later, I can stand again, right? I can walk without limping again.
That's crazy. And you think she healed you?
Say that again?
You think she healed you?
Healed? Yes.
So did that change your attitude towards spirituality at all, or religion?
Oh, well, not immediately. I didn't even make the connection, right away, which
Right.
was crazy. Didn't even like think about it at the time. I was just like, how did you do that?
What'd she say?
She said, she said that she learned it from an Indian guru called Nithyananda. Nithyananda,
Did you look it up?
right? You can look. I looked him up. He actually exists somehow. It's like I don't know what he taught her, right? But it happened. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have to believe you then. I had gotten her number, and I was like, okay, I have to go back to New York City now. Unfortunately, I don't have her number anymore because of the FBI taking all of my stuff because I'm a January 6er again.
I love how all the threads you told us do come together. I was like, I didn't know where this was going. I remember actually hearing the story, but now it's perfect because not only did you lay out the story to give us concrete details to be like, look, I swear this happened to me, but now the January 6th, we gotta get your phone back from the feds so we can get this healing shaman lady on the show now and see what she's up to because there's people out there who need to be healed. That's crazy. I've heard of people doing that. Actually, my wife at one point was healed by some crazy lady in the street once, like 20 years ago. So I've heard these stories. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
There is some controversy on this Nithyananda guy.
Oh yeah, what's the controversy?
I'm just telling you what she told me. I can't even say that this person is legitimate, but I can say that the person who healed my foot is legitimate.
That's
Like,
fair. That's fair.
Hey, if it worked,
Yeah.
I guess that's all that matters.
Now, if she could only work on like overturning all of the charges, if Trump doesn't, we gotta get a hold of her.
Yeah.
How do you spell
hopefully. I mean, they say I don't even have some of my stuff that they actually took. So
Yeah, that's crazy.
Who knows if I'll ever get that back?
Nithyananda, Nithyananda.
What do they say about it?
Formerly known as Swami Nithyananda, is a controversial Indian spiritual leader and self-proclaimed godman. He gained notoriety for his spiritual teachings, claims of supernatural abilities, and allegations of misconduct, including legal cases involving sexual assault and fraud.
Of course, the sexual assault stuff, right?
It's a
Like,
deep
who
fake
wasn't
trying to turn it
accused
down.
of sexual assault?
That's what ChatGPT says. I didn't want to tell
Oh,
you that's what I was looking
no.
at, but yeah, that's
Interesting. I've never heard of that one.
yeah.
Wow.
Well, anyways, I'm glad I was able to share my story. I do have to go soon.
All right. Hey, man, thanks for calling. Thanks for the story. I'm glad you're better. And I hope you get your stuff back.
Oh, I hope so too. It was a pleasure talking with you.
Thanks,
Me
man.
too.
Have a good night.
Someone super chatted us. Let me go ahead and
Oh,
read
yeah, what
that
do you
real
got?
quick. $12 from Toe Phone Man. Drones attached to the edges of a large reflecting sheet can spread across a big area and block out the sun easily. So,
Guys, we
Anyway.
need to save the sun.
sun's
We have to
boring.
save the sun. I'm worried they're going to try to turn it off next year.
The sun?
Someone, bad actors, just straight up turn it off.
No.
This year, they shot missiles at the solar eclipse named after the Greek god of chaos. That to me is like the beginning of the narrative of we want to destroy this.
I mean, sometimes you name things because
You're evil
okay.
and you're demonic.
Yeah.
I'm laughing, but I'm being serious because it's all you can do. Because why would you name the program Chaos after the god of chaos while shooting missiles
sounds
at
cool?
the eclipse? Why do our tax dollars go to NASA to do evil, weird fear rituals on the anniversary of Crowley talking to a demon?
Yeah, I'd like my money back, but
Yeah, I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying, can we not do that anymore? So I'm just saying that's like the God of Chaos missile stuff was like the appetizer to next year's just no more sun. We've had people on the show on Tim's show. We did a culture war with the guys talking about the the poles shifting, the Earth turning upside down. These are all theories people have. I don't know about any of it. You know, a lot of these people have a lot of proof that they what they believe is evidence. You know, I'm not going to be convinced that easily. Although I think there are things we should be thinking about because the Earth does do weird things, and we are also doing weird things to it in terms of, you know, building black holes underneath France and being sucked into another dimension. And now we're in the sphere of strangeness since at least 2008.
Or you could say 2000. 1999 was the last real year.
Y2K was a pretty awesome fear ritual. It was the last best fear ritual.
I remember New Year's Eve sitting with my entire family, like, is it going to end?
Were you guys all
yeah,
like,
yeah.
were you
I
waiting?
mean, like, yes and no,
Sick,
like, yes, but
sick.
like, and then it was like, party on, nothing happened, and it's like, well, maybe something did happen.
Yeah, and then after that, it was the Mayan calendar situation.
Oh,
Remember that, 2012?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the world was going to end.
And maybe it did. Maybe things are weird. Things are really
Maybe they've
weird.
always been.
They've definitely always been weird, for sure. But the last 4 years have been totally insane.
Yeah.
We saw the whole world shut down. And like that's also not unique. The world has always been insane. It's just our inheritance of the sphere of strangeness.
Yeah.
With the acceleration of technology and stuff, which just makes it seem weird, and how we're all more connected now than we've ever been with the internet and stuff. And the internet makes everything feel like, makes the whole world feel like a really small town. So all these crises that happen around the world feel very local,
Right.
which then makes everyone have like PTSD from like the whiplash of crisis
Yeah, we're
that
all just
every
like
day, you know.
Walking around depressed, but acting like nothing's going on.
Right, like it's insane. Like we know like what our like high school friends are upset about, you know, on Facebook or whatever, Instagram, and their weird traumas, while also trying to have families, while also watching presidents dodge bullets, while the sky's filled with drones, you know, while their CERN is shooting particles together at the speed of light and sucking all of Earth into a black hole. And they're making chimeras in all these labs across the country with aborted fetuses. But that's just my theory.
Well, at least it's Christmas.
That's just my theory. This is our Christmas episode. Welcome to our Christmas episode.
It's going to be a new year. Let's hear it for 2025,
it's just going to get way
y'all.
better next year, guys.
Oh my
it's not going to
God.
get worse. It's just way better.
Well, we have 2 more callers. Let's go ahead and
Let's
bring
do it.
one
Let's
in.
do it. Let's
We're going to
do
go
it.
ahead and bring James in. Hopefully James is ready for us. James, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
What up, James? How are you?
Good, Shane. How are you?
Good, man. Thanks for calling. So what do we got going on? What is your story?
Okay, so no, that's dox myself, but I live in Arizona, and Arizona has a few ghost towns, and Tombstone is one of those ghost towns, and I'm sure you're very familiar with it. It has the OK Corral where a gunfight happened with Wyatt Earp, and
It's one of my favorite movies. One of my favorite movies. Everyone should go watch Tombstone tonight with Val Kilmer.
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Oh, God.
Come on.
I don't know if I trust your taste in movies, though, Shane.
This one is one I think everyone can get behind. Typically, my movie taste is bad, but sorry, James, but Tombstone is a great movie. And
oh, definitely, I totally
Val
agree.
Kilmer's greatest performance.
All right.
James, take it away.
Oh, definitely. Oh, so, okay, so and then me and my friend, we took a day trip to Tombstone, Arizona, and it's very well known to be haunted. There's a few places that have experienced haunted appearances and sightings, and nothing's too well known about the buildings on the outside of this town, but we were able to take a tour of some of the outcropping buildings, and we just happened to pass this one building, and then something had my friend turn around and take a picture of that building, and you could see in the picture that an apparition appeared on the picture.
Nice.
And he showed me that, and like, oh man, it was kind of startling. Like, we had just been in there and nothing. We hadn't felt nothing. We hadn't seen anything. And then when he takes a picture, that appears. So
what did you?
I think it was looking at us when we were leaving.
Can you
Kinda scary
describe?
at that point.
Can you describe what it looked like? What kind of apparition?
So in the picture, I think I sent it. I think I sent it you guys. You could see like a slouching person with almost looks like they're wearing a hat, like an old hat from that era.
Huh. I'm trying to see if you sent. Did you send it to me? I was gonna try to pull it up, or maybe Alex has it. So you think it was like a cowboy ghost?
I'm sure it was maybe because Tombstone used to be a mining town, so maybe it was a miner who passed away during that era.
Yeah, yeah. That whole area's got a brutal past. We're trying to look for the picture right
Yes.
now.
I don't see a picture.
Shoot.
Was it in my email?
I don't know.
Yes, I believe I sent to the email when I applied for the show.
Oh, then that's you.
Okay. Darn. Let's see here. Okay. Was it with the red shack?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Alex, I'm going to forward this to you. Oh, you know what? We probably can't pull it up because we don't have a link to it.
Yeah.
That stinks.
Got all
We
these
have to,
problems.
for some reason, we got to figure this out with our email, but we would need it on a link. But I'm going to describe it for people. I'm looking at like a red little outhouse shack. It's old. It's faded, and there's a little door and there's a little window. And you were saying the apparition's in the window?
Yes, I believe. I mean, it looks like a person staying there, but it's really clear for usually ghost pictures are very faded and like blurry, but that one's really
You
stands
see it
out.
immediately. We'll try to, and we got to upload other pictures from last week. I'm just remembering
Yeah,
of
the
the
cow
cow.
pictures.
Yeah. Now that I'm saying it, I was going to say we should upload this as well because it's a really good picture. It's pretty creepy. So I'll send this to you now, and we'll put it up later in the like community notes or something. Do you go out there often? Is that your only time there, James?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the last.
Do you go out to Tombstone often? Like, do you go around and visit these places? Have you seen anything else?
I'm not really a bit of a paranormal hunter like some people are,
Right.
but it's rare that you capture something like that. I know I've been to other haunted places. So in Arizona, the Herberger Theater is haunted as well.
Ooh. Did you see anything there?
There's a few other places as well. I haven't been to all of them, but
What was the theater like? Did you feel anything or see anything?
So being an old building, being in an old shack there, it did have like heavy presence, because it's old and so it gets humid and misty, and I could see like maybe we didn't take any pictures inside, but because it was just run down, and so like spider webs and all kinds of just like just dilapidated almost.
Yeah, those are good places. Old theaters are creepy. I love old theaters.
Yeah, me too.
I had an old theater in the town I lived in that was a bunch of schizophrenic people were living there overnight, like homeless schizophrenic people. So it was basically like it was haunted. Very interesting place. But we will take this photo and we will put it in the community section of the YouTube page for this channel.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the picture.
Yeah, right? It's weird, right? Ooh. I wish we could show people now, but we'll have it up later so people can check it out. That's cool. That's an old shack. Some weird stuff was going on in that town. Between the mining deaths and all the duels that happened, it was an outlaw place. That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing, man.
Oh, no problem.
Have a good one.
You too.
That's crazy. Yeah, we'll have to post that. So who else we got?
We got Mr. Pink. I was
Sick.
just grabbing his other video he sent me.
Awesome. Oh, we got 2 videos.
Are you with us, Mr. Pink?
Hey guys, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Cool.
We can. What's
Yeah.
up? How are you?
Oh, let me adjust my volume a tiny bit here. How are you guys doing tonight?
We're good. How are you?
Very good. I was actually just reviewing the email Alex just sent me. If you look,
I got the
reply
second
just
link.
above it. I sent a corrected link.
Yeah.
But I'm doing good. This is the first time I'll be sharing this with anybody really. Yeah, I sent you a couple of videos. Just want to make sure the links are good, and if you
let's
need me to share my screen, I could, or if you want me to turn my camera on, I can. But
Yeah. Do you want me to go ahead and play it now before we get into it?
Actually, let me give just a tiny bit of context first.
Sweet.
So this was November 19th, 2019. This was the day after Thanksgiving. I had rented a room off of Craigslist, of all places, at the time. Had moved to Peoria to be closer to my mother, and found myself renting with some strangers. I had been there a few weeks, and at the time I did not have a car. I basically was riding a bike to work every day, and I enjoyed it for the most part. And we had a roommate that dipped out on us the day the rent was due in the second room. And so it kind of stuck us with the bill. And I went to be with my family for Thanksgiving, and the landlord, who I barely knew at that point, just a few weeks, had went out onto Craigslist and allowed somebody else to come in and rent the room. So without me meeting them, I come home the following night after Thanksgiving, and I hear someone in there. He had instructed me that it was a woman in her 40s, 50s, somewhere in that range. In the morning, before I left for work, I had heard a couple of people in the room. I believe I heard one person go to the bathroom and still heard one other person in the room. My door was closed. After that, got to work for the day. I came home that night. I remember it vividly because it was pouring rain. I was freezing cold. I was in a hurry. I had my headphones in, everything. I pull up to the house, and there's the woman. And I didn't know her name at this point. I'd never met her, but I was going to be living with her, so I was polite. But as I rolled up to the house, I was going to bring my bike through the front door and lay it at the foyer. She was standing on the porch, she wasn't in the rain. She was just standing on the porch, like talking to the bushes. I won't say yelling, but it was like she was having a conversation with the bush that was right next to her. So I took my headphones out. I said hello. I said hi. I'm Justin. My name is Justin. And I didn't get a response from her. She just kind of looked at me and said, "Huh," just kind of a nod. I went to pull my bike through the door, and as I opened the door, she says to me, "I'm really scared." And I turned to her and I looked her in the eyes, and she looked terrified. And she's, like a normal older woman would. That's just, "I'm scared of something." She said, "I'm really scared." And she said, "I'm having nightmares. Will you stay out here with me? I can't sleep. I'm having nightmares." Mind you, it's about 12 o'clock at night. I work really late, very, very late, early mornings, like 12. I think when it all started happening was like 1 o'clock. But anyway, it's like right around midnight when I got home. She's like, "I'm having nightmares. I can't sleep." And I didn't dismiss her, but I am fundamentally, I'm a born again Christian. So any type of anything spiritually related, someone says they're scared, they're having nightmares, that type of stuff, I always revert to kind of some biblical principles. So as I was carrying my bike through the door and she says this to me, I turned to her and I said, "When I have nightmares, I like to read from my Bible." And as I was saying the word Bible, I was also breaking eye contact with her and walking into the door with my bike. And as I said the word Bible and had broke eye contact with her, from behind me, I heard on three sides of my head the sound of a growling dog. Not like a dog that's about to get a bone or is like about to attack someone. But
Wow.
three different tones of it, this woman made. And the hair shot up on the back of my neck, and I just threw the bike against the wall and turned around. She had her back to me now, and then was just staring out off the front porch into the rain. And that tripped me out, and more so than most people probably, because I've had some experiences that other stories I could get into at another time. But this was the most interesting thing that had ever happened to me at this moment, because this was a real person that just made an inhuman noise for no reason and then didn't look me in the eyes after I was like, "What was that about?"
Right.
So I just played it cool, and that had tripped me out enough to where I was like, "I'm just going to ignore her and go upstairs and do my thing." As I was closing the door, I just kind of said to her, "Hey, like, don't stay out in the rain or anything. It's, you might get sick." And I just kind of casually closed the door and went up into my room, and I started watching a movie. And at about 12:30, she came into the house at some point and started going up the stairs into her room, back downstairs, back into her room. And during this period of time, I paused my movie a couple of different times because I heard her talking to someone. And again, I thought she was with someone else, like she had let someone come into the house. I mean, like I said earlier in the morning, I had assumed she had a boyfriend or someone that had helped her move because she had a whole bed in there and everything. So I'm hearing two people. And then when I paused the movie for like the third time, I listened to the voice tone changes. She was speaking to herself. It was clearly not another person in the house. So I get up to my door, and I'm hearing her walking up and down the hallway, having a conversation with what I could only assume from my biblical lens, something possessing her, or just an alter ego to some capacity.
Right.
And this woman began to cry and then snarl, and then cry, and then snarl. And most of the things I heard were, "Please don't do this again. I'm not ready." And the inner voice that came out that was very demonic sounding was along the lines of unintelligible. Like, it's the best word I can describe. I couldn't make sense of what it was saying, but every time it stopped, she would basically complain and whimper and beg it not to do whatever it was about to do or was doing to her.
Wow.
So with that context, I will give you, Alex, if you look at the most recent link, it should be labeled lady number 2.
Yeah.
It's actually the first clip, not the one that I sent you guys last week. But
Okay.
if you pull that one up, what I did is I put the phone in a static position with my door open, because this is after I had opened my door, went to the top of the stairs. At this point, she's at the bottom of the stairs, and I was so freaked out. I saw what I saw, and I said to myself, I'm getting out of the house. Again, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I pick up the phone. I call my stepdad to say, come grab me. And they ask why. I said, just get here right now.
Wow.
I set the phone on my desk, facing out of the door, because I knew this was real. This was really happening right now. And if she came up the stairs, I wanted to capture it. So the first video is all static. You can basically hear me just like packing up all my stuff. You can hear me clipping on. I had a bunch of military gear at the time, so I'm clipping on like my body armor because I'm trying to carry everything out of me. I'm not out with me. I'm not coming back to this house ever again. Like, this freaked me out so much.
Yeah.
So you can hear me like loading my guns, shoving hardwares and computers into my bags, and essentially just preparing to get past her if I had to, force my way out of the house, or just getting ready to be prepared when my ride came. I could go out of the house if she had left and went into the living room or something. So go ahead and play the first clip so you can get a sense of hearing me getting prepared to leave and her.
The backstory makes this video way crazier.
So you want me to play the raw clip one that you did send me, not the one that you just sent me?
The one that I just sent you in the email, it should say apologies.
Yep. Okay, got it. Yeah. Okay. Here we go.
Dude, they all feel like I'm gonna get a jump scare.
There's no jump scare.
I know. It just feels like it.
Just listen. So for more context, the landlord is in that bedroom with his door pulled to, and he's sound asleep. He doesn't hear any of this.
The landlord's across the hall?
Yeah. So just to the right, where you see kind of like those boxes up against the wall.
Okay.
There's a stairwell that goes straight down to the front door.
Okay.
I hear
you hear it. You hear there's movement.
Yeah, just listen for a minute.
Packing movement downstairs.
You could hear her
having a talk.
I am frantically packing my things.
Yeah, you can definitely hear that. Were you in the military?
I was not. I've just done a lot of private security in my life.
Is that her like moaning down there?
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately, I didn't catch her actually having the conversation with herself the first time. The second time in the other video you can see, though. But the first time is where it's really clear.
I like how some people would choose to shut the door.
I know.
But you're like, I'm going to capture this.
Wide open.
I have an AR-15, 2 pistols, and a machete at this point, so I'm getting out of the house.
Yeah, that'll do it. That's crazy, dude.
So if you, I don't know how much you've heard. I can't hear it, but if you want to skip to the other clip, it basically just gets to me grabbing the camera, and then I approach the hallway.
It's in the second clip, right?
That would be the first link that I sent you a while ago.
Oh, that's crazy.
If I need to send you a new one, I can send it to you now.
Okay.
That's crazy. While you pull that up, I'm just going to reference a previous episode where we talked to Timothy Alberino about demons, people being possessed, legion in the Bible, for those who know, the multiple demons that possessed the man, how the demons are the first to know that the Son of God is now here on earth. And which is why when you said Bible, I believe, he heard the growling, right? Because they react to this stuff.
Correct. And Timothy is a really smart man. I've followed him for over a decade, and I've read his book. I heard on your podcast with him. You've been reading it as well. It's fascinating, especially when he gets into some of the his theories about things that took place before the Garden of Eden. It's fascinating stuff. But I am very, very in tune with these things from my Christian upbringing and biblical experience. So I'm sending you a link if you didn't get it. Or if you couldn't find it, I just sent you one more. This is the footage that captures the woman.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna play the first clip that you sent us. Yes.
The one from a week ago.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's the same clip.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Yeah.
I just didn't
cool. So for those just listening,
there's a woman at the bottom of the
stairs. From the top of the stairs in this apartment, this house, and she's in like a nightgown. Where's she in?
She's at the bottom of the stairs, and she pissed herself.
She definitely pissed
urine all over the bottom of the stairs. She's got one shoe off. She's holding a bottle. I don't know what was in that, whatever she was drinking, but just listen.
Oh, I think that was the end of the clip.
And the landlord's just sleeping, you think?
Correct. So if you go back a little bit and just back like halfway and pay attention to her shadow.
Yes, I just was actually. Yeah.
You were.
Watch.
It could be just her hair, but the timing and the circumstance, it all just kind of makes sense. And for her to be saying again, because that was part of the voice, I feel like switching from her in agony and then coming back to her, and then she acts like she likes it.
I feel like I would have just tried my own exorcism.
I'm not going anywhere near that. How did you get out?
Yeah, did you push her out of the way? That's a laugh, but
again, if for people that didn't catch it the first time, look at the shadow.
It looks like her shadow, no?
I mean, looks like something's going on. Clearly. Something's clearly going on. I'm with you on the possession thing. How did you get out of the house? Like, was that the exit?
I went back into my room. I closed the door. I do have a third clip that's about 15 seconds long from outside of her room. At one point, she had gone back up into her room. My ride arrived, and I left the house. I did inform my landlord before I left. He didn't believe me. The next day, obviously, my family is freaking out in the middle of the night. We go back to the house. This is the day after Thanksgiving, so even like my extended family was in town. They all thought I was crazy the way I was dressed and how I had all my stuff with me. And then I showed them those videos and told them that story. And my mother just said I would have done the same thing. I never went back to the house. The landlord messaged me the next day, though, and said, "You were right. She did that later in the night. Like, apparently at some point she started again and was walking around the house, and he caught her. And I don't know what that experience was like, but
now they're married.
Basically waited for her to move, and I went out of the house, and yeah, it really freaked me out. And I put the phone and I put a copy on a hard drive, and I put it in my safe, and I haven't pulled it out until the other week. And I just felt like if I was going to share it with the world, I'd want it to be here.
Thanks.
I thought it'd be a good place.
It's a crazy video. It's a crazy video. Like it's filmed in a way I thought it was going to be a jump scare. I'm like, this is just it's here to scare me. But it did scare me in other ways. The lady with your backstory makes it so much more. You grounded it with the story. Because I'm like, okay, it's a crazy lady.
On drugs.
But now, the way you met her, the conversation you had, it adds so much to that video. Totally insane. Very curious what happened to her. Very curious. I hope she got help. I hope she's not possessed.
I know. I wonder. Going back to your first caller too, he had mentioned something about, uh, I think it was just in general, or well, sorry, I don't want to get off track. Yes, I prayed for that woman. Um, I'm not sure what happened to her. The landlord had messaged me that he kicked her out, but I don't know, what happened. All I know is I wasn't going back there. I lost communications with that person. I also live in Arizona, by the way.
Interesting.
This happened in Peoria, Arizona, a few
Okay.
miles north of like where the Cardinals play football, for
Yep.
anyone that's wondering. I've lived here most of my life. I've never really experienced anything like that. I did when I was 21. I had an experience where the typical sleep paralysis, inky black demon thing comes into your room. I had like some sort of imp demon thing was with it, and it was running around on my headboard with chains and was going to chain me up. And I simply just rebuked it in the name of Jesus Christ, and it fled from me. And then I called my dad at about 3 a.m. He picked up the phone, and I told him the story, and he said, "Justin, you're not going to believe it, but the same thing happened to me the same night." Because I was 21. This was a long time ago.
I just got chills. That's crazy.
I've never had any encounters like that since. I feel like this was an opportunity. Whenever these entities have approached me, they've tested me in one way or another, but they tend to do it when I'm separated from my parents that raised me. I was raised in a Christian academy. I went to Christian college in Hawaii. I've traveled, been a missionary.
Amazing.
I like to tell the truth about these things. Everything I've said here today is the truth. And as we, gather with our families now for this holiday season, Christmas time, it's important to remember why we celebrate this season, and that is the birth of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And that in the instances of these things that can pull a lot of fear into our lives and into our hearts, it's important to remember that everything is in control. The Lord loves us and his mercy abounds. And I believe that's what it was I was getting to, is the first caller said he was, or the second caller said he was an atheist. I don't remember which one it was.
Amen to that, man. I'm with you. People need to remember that there's evil on this planet. And I think a lot of it goes misinterpreted in modern days. They want to put different labels on it, but it really just boils down to evil. And it's wild. I've seen people like that.
With the drones too, this drone phenomenon, I mean, you might not be far off with your theories about, a combination of the border insecurity we've had and the types of attacks. I mean, imagine if suicide vests became airborne. You know what I mean? Like,
it's nuts.
These are real threats. And, one of the things that comes to mind, and I'm gonna quote this because nothing says it better than just actual scripture. This is from Ephesians 2, and this is in basically explaining my perception of the powers of the air. It says, "And you hath he quickened, who were dead in trespass and sins, wherein in time past you walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit that now worketh in the children of disobedience, among whom also we all had our conversation in times past in the lusts of our flesh, fulfilling the desires of the flesh and of the mind, and were by nature the children of wrath, even as others. But God, who is rich in mercy, for his great love wherewith he loved us, even when we were dead in sin, hath quickened us together by Jesus Christ." And referring to the devil, referring to the evil one in this fallen world that he is in control of, the world that we live in, he is the prince of the power of the air. When I worked, a long time ago, I worked with one of the telecommunications companies, and they had a promotion at the time that when the smartphones first started coming to the networks, the iPhone and the like, the first Android phones, etc., the slogan was "Rule the Air." And I remember a pastor, a friend of mine, preaching about this. In a lot of the trainings that I did, we would go to different auctions where the telecoms companies would literally be auctioning for the frequency rights that the military, the U.S. government, was allowing them to operate on.
Wow.
So when we're talking about frequency and all of the data that passes through ground level in every major city, it's more prevalent in cities, which I think is a lot to do with some of the mental illness that we see.
100%.
All the conspiracy about 5G and all of these different things. And now we can watch footage on our phone while we're in the bathroom of Ukrainian soldiers having bombs dropped on them by a drone.
Yep. Or you're
And
sitting around,
people
you know, you're sitting around your family dinner, and you shouldn't be on your phone, but most are, and you're turning on Twitter and you're watching a lady burn alive in a subway in New York City.
and falling asleep to this content,
Yep.
it's not healthy for the mind. And I
Nope.
just would want to say, to those people that are atheists or concerned about these things, fearful of these things, the living God is real. I can confirm that personally. And he is jealous of our fear. We're fearful of the wrong things. We need to fear the wrath of Almighty God. I think Trump felt that on the day that he took that shot, personally. I think
Yeah.
when he's on the ground bleeding, he had that come to Jesus moment. And it may be different for him as it is for pretty much everybody than it is for me. But I think that we fear the wrong things. We need to, whenever there's a symbolic appearance of God in the Bible pertaining to appearing unto men, either through a form of an angel, in the Word made flesh form of Jesus Christ, the first thing usually said is fear not,
Yeah.
because we fear these things. When the Israelites saw or heard God's voice coming from the mountain, they said, no, stop that, we don't want that ever
You
again.
go
That
talk
was
to him,
terrifying.
Moses, not us.
I mean, yeah. So we fear the wrong things, and that's why during this Christmas season, celebrate the mercies of Jesus Christ dying on the cross for our sins and put your faith in him. He is the only one to be feared, and he loves you, and he is going to defeat all these evils in the end. And that's the confidence that I wanted to bring by bringing out this story, but also kind of turning it into a life lesson. And just one last verse I want to read here
Please.
is one of my favorites. It's from the book of Ephesians as well, Ephesians 6. Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand. And all the evils of the world, when you look at the Diddy list and the Epstein list and all the wickedness that goes on in Congress and in the DC swamp, and all the skyscrapers and all the people at the top of those skyscrapers and the things they're getting into. And I'm talking everybody, people from the NFL to the you know what I mean?
Oh,
So
yeah.
these are the
Hollywood,
people that
everybody.
are orchestrating a lot of this stuff, I believe. And yeah, I just wanted to share this story and then also leave with a message of encouragement.
We appreciate it,
There's
man.
nothing to be afraid of. Everything's in God's hands, but a lot of this stuff is very very crazy, and there's certainly going to be some difficult times ahead, but just, make sure that you are reserved and at peace spiritually, that God's got this. And so, yeah,
Amazing.
anyway, I don't know if you have any other questions for me or.
Well, I just want to say, I love how they actually turned into the best Christmas episode. Like we went from all this dark stuff, and you found a way.
I'm glad we didn't do it last week, to be honest. I'm glad there was a snowstorm.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
Seriously, that's incredible. I love that you chose those verses. It's incredible, and I find a lot of confidence in them as well, and in God, obviously. And people need to hear it, and just hearing those words should be an armor. And talking about a lot of stuff we talked about tonight, whether it's the evil, the possessed, the things you saw, the things in the sky, the things that people in our government want to put in the sky. These people are trying to build a false god, and people turn these people in government into their golden calves, and they're trying to build something that's omniscient. Like when I talk about the police state, it's got a lot of problems, but I really mean like they want to put a fake machine god across the country or across the whole globe, across Earth, and spy on you as if they are the God, lower G God. And it's an affront to uppercase G God. And people need to understand that they're going to try to sell it to you like it's good intentions for your safety, but it's really because they want to divorce you from God and from the natural world and rule over you.
Absolutely. The transhumanism movement, that's one of the things that Timothy Alberino talks about a lot, especially in his book. It's just the birthright of humanity that only a son of man can take the deed of earth. When the Bible says here in these verses I just read, when it talks about principalities, principality, I'm pretty sure he's explained it on other podcasts, but I'm taking this directly from Timothy Alberino. All credit to him. He's the one that kind of changed this paradigm for me personally, because I was more of a basic fundamental Baptist. But this is what he's talking about, of just that the deed to earth needs to be taken over by a mortal man, a human man, and that's Jesus. I mean, Jesus, there's a reason people go around saying Christ is king on the internet nowadays.
Yep.
Just this fearlessness to proclaim him, that he is the God. And then there's a reason why not to sound like, I don't want to come across really, really bad, but you see what happened in Germany recently. There's a reason why the adversaries of Jesus it makes them angry.
Oh yeah, and then watch how these people downplay a lot of these things. Like maybe I'm crazy, but I still think the burning of Notre Dame was an arson. I think a lot of these things are assaults on Christianity, and then you see these godless institutions redefine the assault. I mean, like, I think it was Tim Pool who shared it on Twitter recently. It was an article about what happened in Germany, and the article said a car drove through a crowd, and Tim's sick joke was it a smaller car in a car? Like, they don't just explicitly say attack. I mean, I believe it was terror attack. They have to find these weird ways to redefine it with their sanitized language to make it anything but the attack on Christians.
What's great about Tim is he's from the left. Like, he says it now recently. It's like when they say they don't have their own Joe Rogan, he's like, you had us, but now we've moved, and that's just politics. But when Tim points out these things, I mean, I've listened to every single show of his, like everyone that you've been on for years. I work in a capacity where I can just listen to whatever I want all day.
That's awesome.
And I absorb lots of different information. I watch Benny in the morning, I watch Tim at night. I mean, and all kinds of different things in between. And for him to be getting on that level now, where he's slowly, gotten to this point. I've just watched the growth of he's still not believing it from that religious perspective, which is fine. Being agnostic is not the same as being an atheist. You're open to the concepts of God. You're just not fully convinced by it. It takes a lot of work to read the Bible cover to cover. I recommend it, King James version, everybody. But he's making those points and saying these journalists are fraudulent. They will take an open-ended story and instead of truncating it to make it simple for the viewer to read, they'll trick people with a headline as clickbait, as one does, and then explain the ignorance of everything later down in the article, where people don't want to scroll to, don't want to look for it.
100%.
And it's sick. They did it to Trump as soon as he became president the first time, and he called them fake news in that first press conference, and it's just set everything crazy. And for the last 8-9 years, so
we're in a bizarre world.
I was at the party. The other day with James O'Keefe and all of his gang. It was a lot of fun. It was cool to see Tim there and playing his guitar and stuff after coming off the show he did on Thursday or on Wednesday with that I don't remember what the kid's name was, but it was the last show that he did on
poor Luke
there.
Hey, you know what? Shout out to that kid for showing up though. He didn't have to show up.
Kudos to him. He didn't lose his temper, but yeah.
That was fun. But yeah, no, I'm totally on the same page as you, man, and I really appreciate it. We thank you for the story. Thank you for sharing scripture. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and we'll do this again soon.
Absolutely. Same to you. You can hit me up anytime. I'm happy to come on and talk about anything, so.
Thanks, man.
I appreciate the opportunity to share my story, and look forward to talking with you guys again, hopefully. And again, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night. Man, that's wild. The backstory makes that video crazier,
creepy.
Way crazier.
Yeah.
Amazing. Very good storyteller.
Yeah.
The way he walked us through all of that. That lady for sure is possessed. And, now I've been, Ed, I forget his name, but our friends in the Nephilim Death Squad have interviewed Marziak. I'm going to get the name wrong. I'm horrible at names, but they've interviewed like this doctor who's kind of reinterpreting what schizophrenia is in terms of possession and stuff like that. And that's what I saw in that video that the last caller shared. I was only half joking about the schizophrenics that I used to live next to, because I did know a bunch, because there was an institution in our town filled with schizophrenics and they would wander the town throughout the day. They had like curfews if they were medicated, and I talked to a lot of them. But back then I was an atheist.
Yeah.
I didn't see it in any spiritual light, but I took them very seriously. Like other people were like grossed out by them. I like to talk to them, and I want to know. But it was hard. You couldn't really follow the train of thought, even if they were medicated.
Yeah.
You know, and I befriended. His name was Howard, and it's funny because he always wore a Christmas sweater, even in the summer. Now here we are for Christmas, but he wore a Christmas sweater. He chain smoked. I don't know how he got his cigarettes. He always had coffee. I don't know how he got his coffee. I do know how he got the coffee. He would walk into places and people would give him free coffee, which was kind of nice because I like they were supporting Howard and his coffee. But he like couldn't handle currency. He was always asking for money, but not for coffee. He was asking money for nuclear warheads, and because Farrah Fawcett was in his apartment trying to start World War III with him. And he was actually from the year 10,000 BC. And when I asked him about what it was like to be in the year 10,000 BC, he said, well, it's like standing in the sun in the year 10,000 BC. And every time I would see him, it was like he didn't have to meet me for the first time. But something about him also knew who I was. It was very strange. We went on for a whole summer, me and Howard, and just talking in the streets of Beacon, New York.
Sounds like a book called My Summer with Howard.
I have written a lot about Howard. I've never published.
I think you've talked.
I've probably talked about Howard a few times, but I don't think I've ever published anything about Howard. But I do have a book I've been working on about Howard because he disappeared, and then I never saw him again. But there are a lot of people.
I think that like homeless people or like schizophrenics are in disguise as like not necessarily I would say more like angels.
Well, looking back now, I do think he had some kind of possession thing going on. Something traumatic I know happened to him. Yeah. I learned through some people in that town that he had a family and they like lost him to a car accident or something. And that whatever happened to him, the way I knew him, happened after the accident. He wasn't in the accident. So something snapped in him and he became the Howard I knew. And maybe he
wild. Died and he was back as something else.
I mean, something was in him. Because it sounded crazy to people, but if you talked to him enough, you started to see that there were threads there. And he talked about God a lot, and not in a disparaging way. Like he talked about God as if he was there in the ancient days. Like it was very, very strange conversations. I had a lot of them recorded. I would sit down with him and just record these conversations. He saw the tape recorder, and we just talked for like an hour before I went to work, and it was wild to hear those. So, but he was not like that lady. You know, there were other people from that institution who I don't know why they were allowed to leave, who were like that lady.
That seemed more like exorcist situation.
That was crazy. I still think Howard has some possession going on.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. I'd like to go listen. We should have him on, honestly, the people who, the guy who, the Nephilim guys had on their show a few times. And everyone should go watch that. Now that we're going to be gone for, 2 weeks, a week and a half.
Yeah.
Until we're back for the holidays, for Christmas and New Year's Eve. I can't believe that's already here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Time just goes.
That's crazy. So, yeah, that's wild. I do have something about Howard. At some point, I'll share those stories because I think they're interesting. And one day I'm going to find him.
I hope so.
I hope I find him. I hope he's alive. But he was a nice guy. As crazy as he was. But that was awesome. That was fun taking
that was fun. Those
are great calls.
People have been wanting to hear from callers, and now you got it.
That'd be amazing. We got to do another one of these.
Yeah, definitely reach out to Shane if you have stories you want to share. We'd love to hear them.
Yeah.
Like our show, subscribe.
So this is our last show of the year?
The last show of the year. I know we should have had like champagne or something.
That's crazy. I just have like 6 coffees. How many coffees do I show up with? I'm always like holding them like.
You're like, I'm going to go get more. I'm like, what?
And I'm going to see what else is downstairs. I'm just snorting coffee.
And then you leave with a dozen eggs.
Shout out to Chicken City, our competition. This has been a crazy year. We launched a show this year.
Yeah,
we launched in May.
31 shows in. It only took us about 25 to really figure out what the hell we're doing. What the hell I'm doing.
Well, thank you.
Were fine.
Thank you to Alex.
Thank you.
You ran the show, and it was amazing. This was a fun year.
Yeah.
So many awesome guests. I'm
Great
not even
guests.
going to begin to try to remember
I'm
them
a
all.
true conspiracy theorist now.
Yeah, we're radicalizing you. That was the whole point of the show. It was like a reverse intervention.
I was like, no, Shane, no. Now I'm like,
Yeah, you're like Blue Beam. You're like, oh, yes, Alex, Blue Beam.
Like, let me tell you about all these other conspiracies.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about your like a Christmas dinner with your family now. You're going to sound as crazy as me.
I have my tinfoil hat on, of course.
But thank you to all the guests that have come on. It's been a real honor to talk to all of them. Thank you to all the callers that like gave such an awesome dimension to the show. Thank you for tuning in, everybody, the audience. Love you guys. This has been so much fun. It's crazy that we're 31 episodes in, you said?
31 episodes in.
It feels like we've been doing this for 1,000 years, but also for a week.
Yeah. Well, we're parents, so we have weird schedules.
True. We don't sleep.
We don't sleep well.
But we're looking forward to coming back in the new year. We thank you for all the support, for the super chats, for the comments, for all like the advice on who we should get on the show. You know, people have reached out, say you should get so-and-so, and we do it. Typically, it's been working out. So I can't wait to see what's in store for the new year. Maybe we'll have some answers for the drones. Maybe we'll get a drone in here to interview. Yeah, I would like that. I was looking forward to one. And I think, I have some contacts to drone people. I'll try to get one in the chair.
Just have one land on top of the building here.
If we open the window and it just comes through, that'd be amazing. So I'm going to work on that.
Okay, great.
But awesome. I hope everyone has a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you very much. Alex, did you want to shout anything out or shoot anything out? Just shooting out the cameras.
Just want to beam you now. No. I am Alex Ayala on Twitter. You can follow me. I'm not very vocal, but you know that already. And that's all. Have a great holiday. Be safe. Oh, look at that. Goodbye to the skeleton.
Oh, bye, skeleton hand. We'll see you next time. Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Thank you.
You guys are the best. I'm sure I'll be seeing you guys over the break. And thank you all. We'll see you in the new year.